and Israelis in achieving it. Thank you, Madam President.
I thank Ms. DiCarlo for her briefing. I now give the floor to Ms. Hiba Qasas.
Thank you, Madam President, Excellencies. I wish to start by thanking the United Kingdom for the invitation to brief this Council. I address you today as a Palestinian raised in the West Bank under the reality of insecurity and occupation, as a new Swiss citizen and a founding executive director of the Principles for Peace Foundation, which is based in Geneva, a global peace-building organization that works also on the question of Israel and Palestine, and as a convener of the Uniting for a Shared Future coalition, which brings together today more than 550 Israeli and Palestinian leaders from politics, security, business, civil society, and media. We came together in the wake of October 7th and the Gaza war and built our coalition around enlightened self-interest. Today, USF, or Uniting for a Shared Future, is the main functioning binational infrastructure at scale, where senior leaders from both people still engage and organize pragmatic action for a political solution within a regional framework. Our coalition carries the trauma, fears, and aspirations of both peoples. Palestinians live through occupation, loss, displacement, and violence. Israelis live in security, loss, fear, and uncertainty. We do not relativize pain, and we do not dehumanize the other. We are realists, we are possibilists, and we are patriotic pragmatists in equal measure. We start from one truth. The status quo is not sustainable for either people. Neither side can have lasting security, dignity, and prosperity at the expense of the other. We welcome this Council's Resolution 2803 and the Global Alliance, which keeps the political horizon central. We also express gratitude to the United States administration for its leadership with regional partners in brokering the ceasefire and sustaining attention on what comes next. Phase 2 will decide whether this is a bridge to stability or a pause before the next war. It will only hold if Gaza recovery is inseparable from the West Bank, linked in design, protected by safeguards, and anchored in a time-bound political destination, and a clear one. Gaza cannot succeed if the West Bank collapses. President Trump spoke of a golden era for the Middle East. That future is possible and can only be unlocked by resolving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, removing a central driver of instability and a fuel for radicalization. As long as this conflict remains unresolved, regional normalization, integration, and the expansion of the Abrahamic Accords will remain contested, fragile, and fraught. This is why success will require an alliance of the willing, prepared to advance the New York Declaration and President Trump's plan through disciplined implementation and investment, mutual accountability, and sustained political cover. Excellencies, the facts are stark. In Gaza, displacement and despair are near total, and access remains constrained at key crossings. In the West Bank, record settler attacks, demolitions, displacement, and accelerating settlement and outpost activity are eroding contiguity by the day, alongside administrative and cabinet measures that facilitate changes in land control and ownership. These actions are dangerous for Palestinians, but they're also dangerous for Israelis because they fuel insecurity, radicalization, and the collapse of any credible political destination. Our coalition developed immediate confidence-building measures with an implementation pathway to safeguard the political horizon while Phase 2 is underway. I will highlight 7 priorities requiring active engagement by this Council and by the Board of Peace. First, ease movement and access in Gaza and the West Bank, reverse the ban on humanitarian NGOs, operationalize and modernize Gaza crossings, and movement in the West Bank, including routes via Jordan and permits for labor and commerce. Second, restore Palestinian fiscal and banking functionality to prevent the Palestinian Authority collapse, release withheld revenues, restore correspondent banking, and unblock currency circulation so salaries can be paid and the private sector can restart. Third, back political governance and administrative Palestinian Authority reform with realistic expectations and verification, and supporting Palestinian credible elections. Fourth, protect territorial feasibility now to safeguard and advance the political horizon, halting steps that sever contiguity, beginning with freezing E1 and expansion in the southern Jerusalem corridor, as well as stopping changes to land ownership in the West Bank. Fifth, deter violence and incitement on all sides, apply consequences for terrorism, for militia regrouping and settler violence, and ensure any security and stabilization architecture, including the ISF deployment and disarmament, is verifiable and accountable from day one. Sixth, enable legitimate transitional governance in Gaza, allowing the National Council for the Administration of Gaza to enter Gaza, to succeed, to operate under international political protection, and link that technocratic Palestinian administration in Gaza with the West Bank. Seventh, support an Israeli-Palestinian political dialogue track by starting with what already exists. At Uniting for Shared Future, we've built a dialogue infrastructure and have recently launched in Davos, with the support of the Swiss government, a working group to advance the political horizon. These infrastructures exist, build on what exists. Excellencies, let me be clear about the political destination we believe in. Regional stability, prosperity, and security require a new regional political and security architecture that resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict through a non-militarized Palestinian state living side by side in safety and security next to Israel, embedded in an integrated and safer neighborhood. Our coalition is a supportive constituency for the success of Phase 2 in Gaza as a bridge to that horizon. Our offer to the Council is practical and ready to deploy. First, an Israeli-Palestinian political dialogue infrastructure you can use immediately as a nucleus and a shadow dialogue capability when no official channels exist between Israelis and Palestinians. Second, a sounding board for implementation. And third, legitimacy and delivery support, mobilizing public consent and private sector capability. As the main binational coalition of Israeli and Palestinian leaders working for this horizon, the Uniting for Shared Future stands ready to engage with the Board of Peace, with Council members, regional and national partners to help translate political intent into executable steps. I close with gratitude to the United Kingdom Presidency for this platform. And on behalf of our coalition and the Principles for Peace, we welcome the United Kingdom's initiative to host a peace-building conference and launch a peace fund to support civil society in Israel and Palestine. I also wish to thank the governments that have backed our work and our coalition, including the German government, Denmark, Netherlands, Switzerland, Ireland, Belgium, and regional partners who continue to support our capability to support regional dialogue, including the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Excellencies, I was raised in a reality where each generation inherits the trauma, the fear, and unfinished business of the last. This is not a strategy, this is a sentence. We can either condemn both people to a perpetual state of insecurity, of loss, of trauma and occupation, or emancipate both people from this reality. As solution-minded leaders, we are committed to work with everything we have for the second, because both our people and the people of the region deserve better. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I thank Ms. Qasas for her briefing. I now give the floor to Mr. Nadav Tamir.
Madam President, distinguished members of the Security Council, I thank the United Kingdom for convening this session and for the opportunity to address the Council. Ramadan Kareem to all our Muslim members. I appear before you